And she walked up the alley to where the truck was waiting and climbed up into the cab, which was full of smoke, and the old trucker headed north, and she watched the countryside pass by until she fell asleep. And when she awoke, they were out on the tundra, a flat, treeless plain, and there the trucker pulled into a truck stop called Big Betty's.
Okay, this is as far as I go, kid. Okay. But Betty's a pal of mine. She'll take good care of you, so good luck.
Big Betty was 5 feet tall and 5 feet across. She wore a Green Bay Packers sweatshirt and a cap that said, "Don't tell me about it."
Oh, where have you been? You said you'd be here at 5 and here it is 6:30. Get an apron on and get in that kitchen and start cooking, girl.
Oh, but I can't cook.
Well, neither can anybody else. Just get in there and do it.
Well, what sort of food do we serve?
Well,
pancakes, waffles, western omelette, sausage on the side.
Pancakes, waffles, western omelette, sausage on the side.
Ham and bacon too, yes sir. We got eggs, would you prefer? Boiled hard or boiled soft, scrambled, poached or fried?
Would you care for juice with that, large or medium size?
Would you care for juice with that, large or medium size? We got orange or grapefruit, sorry but no substitute. And potatoes are included, hash browns, cottage fried.
So Karen tried, and though she did burn the hash browns,
sorry,
and she did overcook the steaks a little bit,
sorry,
and she did drop 2 big platters of scrambled. Nonetheless, everybody got fed.
Hey, good job. Appreciate it.
Oh, sorry about the eggs I dropped on the floor.
Oh, no problem. I served them up anyway. They liked it. They thought the hairballs were croutons.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's winter. These guys that eat a bale of hay if you put some melted cheese on it. Speaking of that, it's almost time for lunch.
Well, what's for lunch?
Well,
roast beef sandwich with potato today is pretty fine. Soup is chicken rice today, and we have some fish fillet. A barbecue is lovely too for $1.99.
Excuse me. Would you mind fixing me an omelet?
Karen looked down at the end of the counter, and there was a beautiful dog sitting on a stool.
Oh, well, actually, we're on the lunch menu now, sir.
You could make an omelet with Kimmel and raw hamburger?
Oh, sure. What the heck? You're the first talking dog I ever met.
Do I have an accent?
Oh, you speak very clearly. I can understand every word.
You're not just saying that?
No, you speak better than a lot of people I know.
So she made him an omelet, and she told him about Henry and how he had put his tongue on the pump handle and how he disappeared.
I came north to look for him, but I wonder if he isn't dead.
I'll go ask the roses. They've been in the ground. They know.
Oh.
And a moment later, the dog came back.
Well, the roses say no. They've checked. He's not there.
Oh, I must go look for him.
If you're searching for someone, you really ought to take a good dog along.
So Karen and the dog walked up the road. They walked all day. And as the sun was going down, they sat under a tree to rest.
I am so hungry.
Oh, me too.
And just then a crow flew down from the tree and dropped some breadcrumbs at her feet.
That's white bread, but you're welcome to it.
Oh, you wouldn't happen to have whole wheat or 7 grain, would you?
I don't, sorry. How come you folks are this far north?
Well, I'm looking for a boy named Henry who came this way a few weeks ago. Have you seen him?
You don't happen to speak Crow, do you?
Oh.
It'd be so much easier to explain this in Crow. English is very hard for someone with a beak.
Oh, I'm sorry. I never learned Crow. Did you see him?
That's hard for me to say. In English.
Well, what does
that's not what I said at all. I didn't say I said
sorry. What you said, what does it mean?
It means that your friend came by here in a white limousine with the Queen of the Snow.
You can say all that with one
I didn't say I said What you said, see, that has to do with stock prices.
Okay.
That's an entirely different thing.
All right. So you saw Henry. Was he in his pajamas?
What is pajamas? Is that an insult or?
No, you're thinking of pejorative. Pajamas are what you wear at night.
Oh, yes, he went that way.
And the crow pulled out a feather from each of his wings and gave one to Karen and one to the dog.
These are magical feathers. Hold on to them and you can fly, I think.
Karen held the crow feather in her hand and jumped in the air to fly away. and she crashed to the ground.
Ow!
Oh, not working, huh? Oh, darn. Well, how about that car over there? I can start it for you.
Steal a car?
Well, you can't walk, and it belongs to the Snow Queen.
Come on, let's take it. Come on.
Well, I guess stealing a car from a frigid person isn't the worst thing. Bye! All right, you steer, and I'll put my foot on the gas.
Oh, step on the brake.
Well, we're not going to stop.
They drove north toward the mountains, and soon there was snow all around them. And then you couldn't see the road at all. It was all snow. And the wind blew, and wolves and bears stood along the road and snarled at them. And on they drove, up a glacier, toward the highest mountain peak.
Oh, it's good this car has snow tires.
Well, whatever you do, don't stop.
They were getting higher and higher, and they came around a bend, and there was a bear sitting in the middle of the road. Karen put her head out the window.
Could you please move aside and let us pass?
You're not the boss of me. I am a baron. I am the Baron de Mountain.
Okay, please, Baron de Mountain, could you please move?
People, they're so self-centered.
And he lumbered away, and they drove on. Now the road was all ice, and it wound among the rocks and the boulders, and now Karen began to worry. And then she saw the Snow Queen on her throne, and Henry at her feet, looking quite blue. Karen crept closer.
I'll be back tomorrow. My snow sculpture, don't disturb it. And I'll bring you back some orange sherbet.
And she laughed and flew out the door and up into the sky, and immediately it turned dark and snow began to fall. Karen dashed into the ice palace and ran to Henry and threw her arms around his neck and hugged him.
Oh, Henry, I found you!
He looked at her. His eyes were ice. His hand was bitterly cold. He moved his mouth as if to speak, and nothing came out. She held his head in her hands and wept hot tears. And the tears fell on him and ran down his face, and 2 tears trickled into his mouth and touched his tongue, and he smiled. Thank you. And she helped him out of the ice palace and down the hill to the car where the dog sat behind the wheel. He'd found a cap, and he put it on and looked very important. They sat in back, and the dog released the brake, and the car coasted down the hill and onto the snowy road and through the trees.
You know why I put my tongue on that pump handle?
No, why?
It was because of my grandma.
Well, what about your grandma?
It's a long story.
Oh.
I was desperate.
Well, you didn't know your tongue would freeze?
I thought I'd get lucky.
Oh.
January, January, if you soon are cold. January, January, if you soon are cold. Put my love up to the pump, but I be like Donald Trump. I get lucky, pockets full of gold.
And instead you wound up with the Snow Queen.
No, I wound up with you. And that's what I call real luck.
You want me to keep driving?
Yes, keep driving.
Is this what people call falling in love?
How would I know? I was never in love before.
I think I'm falling in love right now.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. When you've been frozen and you thaw out, then you know.
Oh. Well, if you're falling in love, I must be too. Why else would I go searching for you?
Then I guess we're in love.
Oh, what about me?
You keep driving and don't look in the mirror.